Greetings, everyone. Rajee Narinesingh here, transgender activist, author, spiritualist, actress, reality TV personality, and whore. I'm sorry. Oh my God, I'm being a naughty girl. I'm sorry. Mm. Oh, oh, I couldn't help myself. Well, it's amazing how us human beings can be so many different things, right? So, anyway, on a serious note, I want to talk about the police brutality that is going on here in America. It's horrific, it's horrible, it's an atrocity. I mean, I don't know. The people of color that have lost their lives at the hands of the police. And it keeps happening over and over and over and over again. And so, I don't know, I just think that something has to be done about it. I can't understand with all of the technology now and these cameras that police are supposed to wear, and then people, we walk around with cameras now in our hands, that the police would still do the things that they're doing, because this stuff's been going on forever. It's just that now, because of that technology, it's really being brought to the light. So, okay, I haven't had any, I would say, like horrific experiences with the police, but let's just say my experiences haven't really been warm and fuzzy either, okay? I mean, especially as a trans woman, as soon as they clock me and they say, oh, we got a transsexual here, or whatever they want to call me. Sometimes it's words that aren't very nice. But, yeah, so the energy usually changes and everything. And it's funny. Well, funny for lack of a better word, but whenever I've been stopped, right, and I could be doing nothing wrong, right away I get scared. I'm like, oh my God, like what's gonna happen? Like what's going down? It's just this feeling of fear that comes over me, and it's been a while since I've been stopped. The last time I was stopped, oh my God, the police officer, he like asked me for my license and registration. It was in my purse. So I'm looking at him. I'm like, okay, well, it's in my purse. So I'm going to reach over and grab my purse now. And now I'm bringing it over and I'm going to dip into my purse. I mean, I was like slow motion and explaining everything. And he almost started laughing. You could see like a smirk on his face, like, oh my God, this crazy bitch. But no, you can't be too careful. It's like right away you reach for something too quick and they're like, oh, she was reaching for a gun and I had to kill her. So anyway, yeah, not really warm and fuzzy. I remember one particular time, this officer, he had made some comments about my transgenderism. Uh, he said, he said a number of things, but this one particular statement he made was, how is a mother supposed to explain to her child while they're walking to church on Sunday morning and they see something like you walking down the street? How is a mother supposed to explain that to her child? And I looked at him and I'm like, officer, what does my transgenderism have to do with this traffic stop? Can you please explain? Oh, honey. And we went back and forth for a little bit, but then I was like, oh my God, okay, slow my roll. Because, you pick and choose your battles, and that's a battle I probably wouldn't have won. And so, anyway, but I did report his ass the next day. I got his badge number, honey, and name, and I called his lieutenant or sergeant, his boss, and I reported him. And, at first, he tried to blow it off, and then I was like, oh, no, no, no. I said, I think his last name was Gonzalez. I said, okay. I said, let me give you an example of how I felt. Say you were riding through an all-white neighborhood or an all-black neighborhood, and white and black police officers stopped you, no Hispanic ones, and they were making derogatory comments about Latino people how would you feel as a citizen? Okay, would you feel like you could be safe with these police? Would you feel safe being a citizen in society, knowing that these police officers are making derogatory statements about who you are? And so he got quiet. He couldn't say anything. It's true. I broke it down to him, and he's like, "Well, I'll definitely make sure that this matter is taken care of." Well, probably not, honey. He probably blew it off, whatever. But I still reported his ass because I was like, "Oh no, 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 no." So yeah. So I'm gonna share a story of a situation that I had with the police. Okay, this was some years ago, a number of years ago. Oh, Lord, time goes so fast, y'all. I'm not going to tell you what year because you never ask a lady how old she is, and I got to keep my reputation up as a a youthful, sexy cougar. Youthful looking, maybe not youthful in age. So anyway, I'm coming home from work, and at that time I worked swing shift. I worked from 4 p.m. to 12 midnight, and let's just say I was working in a form of entertainment. That's all I'm going to say. But it was a swing shift. So I got off, and I was supposed to hook up with this guy that I had been seeing. And I couldn't go to his house because he stayed with family, and he couldn't come to mine because I was renting a room from my aunt at the time. So we just planned to hook up, and go park somewhere. All right, listen, I'm a respectable lady, okay? I mean, it's nothing wrong with a little making out in the car, but so it was, we just wanted to see each other. So I don't know why I was using a payphone. I don't know if it was that I hadn't gotten the cell phone yet, or I have no idea, but I stopped to use the payphone down the street from where he lives. And so we were because he was going to meet me at the corner. And so I called, no answer. He didn't pick up. I called again, no answer. 3 times, no answer. And so I'm getting ready to leave. And so what happens is this guy that's on a bike, he sees me and he comes over and he's trying to holler at me, talk to me like, "What's up? What you getting into?" And, "Hey, baby," and all of that. Well, I wasn't interested in him, but I was cordial. I was being nice and friendly with him. So as I walk to my car and I'm opening my door, he's like pulling on the door, but not in a violent, mean, negative way. He was kind of playful with me, and trying to get me to do something. Bottom line is he wanted me to have sex, okay? But anyway, so in the middle of our interaction, this old broken down van passes by. It looked like a work van. And so, it passes by and it starts to slow down as it gets to us, but passing by slowly, like it hadn't completely passed us. And he looks and I look, and then he looks at me and he's like, "Oh, is that your friend?" I'm like, "No, I don't know who that is." So they go about a half a block down the street, this van. And I see them like they had turned around. They did a turn around, and they're coming back towards us. He's like, "Oh, well, they're coming back," and or he might have said he's coming back. So when the van gets right to where my car is, where he's standing, because he's kind of standing in between my door, and I'm sitting down in the car looking up, talking to him. Oh my God, the door swings open, and it's about 8 police officers undercover, and they come over and they separate us, and I'm like, "Dear Lord, oh my God." And I wasn't even doing anything naughty, and I look the shit you can get into just innocently. So he had drugs on him. So now they're accusing me of buying drugs from the guy. I'm like, "Officer," it was this one officer, he just was like, oh my God, like a fucking bulldog with me. And he's like, you were trying to buy drugs. And I'm like, no, I don't even drink, officer, or smoke. And I mean, when I say I don't drink, I might have a drink on New Year's. I don't really count that as being a drinker, or on my birthday or something like that. So I'm like, I don't do drugs. And so I heard them ask him, was she buying drugs when you were trying to sell her drugs? And he thank God, he was honest. And he said, no. He said, I was trying to talk to her. And I was like, oh my God, okay. So I tell them why I had stopped, because this bulldog dog of an officer is like, what were you doing out here anyway? Look at you. You look like a slut. And you're probably a prostitute. And I'm like, what the? I mean, I had a sexy outfit. Listen, I don't think it was slutty, the outfit that I had on. But I like to always look sexy and dress sexy. So, anyway, I had a dress on, and I don't even think I had heels on. I just had some flats on. Anyway, so I explained to the officers that I had stopped to make a phone call. I was supposed to meet my friend guy, or my boyfriend, and so the bulldog dog of an officer, he's like, yeah, right, you're probably lying. You were out here prostituting and this and that and the other. And so in that moment, I was like, this is not right. This is discrimination. And they all got quiet, and they all looked at me, and honey, one of them went and radioed for a police, an officer, a police, oh my God, I can't get the words out. A lady officer, a lady police officer. So anyway, in the meantime, this cute police officer, oh my God, he was so fine, honey. Latino guy, honey. He looked like he was Dominican or something like that. Honey, nice and caramel, and ooh, cute. So he came over, and he was standing on the side of me, and he was like whispering to me. He's like, calm down. Because I was really upset. He's like, you're not getting arrested. You're not going to jail. Just calm down. I'm like, no, but this is unfair. You all just are judging me based on me being trans, and just already like saying, accusing me of doing things that I'm not doing. And so he's like, I know, but trust me, it's going to be okay. So he walked away from me. Just then the lady officer pulls up. So she gets out, she walks over to me, and then Bulldog comes over, the officer that was being real aggressive with me. So he's like, well, she's probably prostituting out here. What's she doing in this neighborhood anyway? And I had given the lady officer my ID and my insurance and everything. So the lady officer looks at him, and she's like, she lives in this neighborhood. That's what she's doing in this neighborhood. Why don't you, chill out? I'll handle this. And so she shut him down, honey. And he walked away. So the lady ran all my stuff, and by the way, they arrest homeboy, the guy on the bike. So they're putting handcuffs on him and putting him in the police car. Oh, dear Lord. I was like, what a night. What did I? Oh, and the payphone rang, and so two of the police officers ran over to pick up, like, hello, like little boys, like, the boyfriend must be calling back, and so of course, if it was him, I don't know if he had called back or not. Did he call back? I'm trying to remember. I can't remember, but. If it was him, he certainly wasn't going to talk to them, so the person hung up, he hung up. So, anyway, but that happening kind of proved, it was like another, more proof that, like, what I was telling them was the truth, So, anyway, after the lady officer ran everything came back clear, and so they all come over to me, and they're like, now they're joking and laughing with me, and, making conversation. So one of the officers, he noticed in the back seat of my car, I had flyers and pictures, like comp cards with my pictures on them. And listen, from from the beginning of time. No, let me stop. For a very long time, I've always had like made up flyers with like my information and my poetry and my, my activism, comp cards and little packets that I carry with me. And wow, I do that even more. I do it as like a lot more now because of me being on reality TV. I get stopped a lot more in the streets, and I want to be able to like connect with the person on a deeper level. So I'll hand them a packet in a minute. But anyway, they were like, the officer was like, "Oh, do you think we could have some of these?" So I said, "Oh, sure." So I open my back seat and I'm giving them the flyers and the comp cards with my pictures. And then the one of the officers says, "Do you mind signing one to our sergeant?" I guess it was sergeant. So I said, "Sure. What's his name?" So I'm signing it. So anyway, it's over. They go about their business. I go about mine. About 2 weeks later, I'm home in my room, and all of a sudden I see these lights flashing through my window. So I'm like, who the hell is that? So I get up, I look out, and it's a police car, and the police officer's standing outside of the car, and he saw me, and he waved for me to come out. So construction next door, honey. Oh my God, this stuff's been driving me crazy. But anyway, yeah, they're actually gutting it out and like doing it, remodeling it and everything. So anyway, I go outside and I'm thinking, oh shit, what's going on here? So he says hi to me and he's like, I said, how did you get my address? He's like, I'm the police. I looked you up. I got, like, duh. And I didn't even have blonde weave on at the time. No. So he says to me, he looks in my eyes. He says, listen, I want to share something with you, but you gotta promise that you will not tell them, let people know, tell anyone who gave you this information. He says, because I will go through hell if they find out that I'm the one that bought it to you. He says there is such a thing as the blue code of honor with officers but he says what they're doing is wrong. And he says, I'm going to give you this stuff and I don't care what you do with it. If you want to go to the media, if you want to go to I think it's the ACLU. Forgive me if I got the letters wrong. Or the ACLU? Wait, let me see. I want to make sure. Yeah, let me see. The ACLU.
Here are some matching news articles.
Yeah. Oh, yeah, it is. Okay, I got it right. I just want to make sure. So anyway, where was I? Oh, so he goes to the back and opens his trunk, and he says to me, this is what's been going on with your pictures and flyers at the police station. And he picks them up and shows me, and literally there are like nasty messages written. It's like they took what I gave them and they made like a lot of copies of it, and they put like nasty messages like, for a good blowjob, call her, and shit like that. And he said they plastered them all over the precinct, and I was like the big joke. Now, as a citizen, I mean, my God, I'm living in this area. Like, if they're looking at me as a big joke, can I really look to them to, like serve and protect me? I mean, really. So he gave it to me. I told him I would not say where I got it from. And so the next day, I called the Yes Institute. I've been a speaker with them for many, many years, and doing a lot of activism through them. And I spoke with them and told them what had happened, and they then contacted the ACLU. The ACLU then contacted the precinct. Before I knew it, I'm in this boardroom with like all these big wig police officers, like the top officers. And I had, we had a meeting. Representatives from the ACLU came, representatives from Yes Institute came. I was there. I spoke with them. I shared a little bit of my story. I explained to them, I tried to explain to them about transsexuality. And just, there was some sort of, I guess, we were trying to create a bridge of understanding, and I don't know if it did that much good, but they did listen, and hopefully it helped. I mean, this was, a number of years ago, and the police at that time were so ignorant when it came to transgenderism and trans issues. So, anyway, that is an example of the shit that goes on, but it's also an example of the fact that there's good officers. That police officer that bought me that stuff, he didn't have to bring me that stuff at all. He took a chance. He was risking his reputation amongst his buddies, his cronies, his fellow officers, his brothers. So anyway, the brothers in blue, or whatever they call it, the blue code, whatever the hell it's called. But anyway, so there are good officers too, But, okay. We need the police. This whole thing about getting rid of the police, can you imagine the mayhem that would happen in our society if we didn't have policing? No. We in societies need police, okay? And I had a discussion with a girlfriend of mine. She was like, oh, we just need to get rid of the police. And I'm like, girl, no. Now, the police, in my opinion, need to be restructured. Policing in this country needs to be restructured and, or, call it what you want, break it down and build it back up. But to get rid of it, no. It would be mayhem. People would just go wild. I mean, not everyone. There are moral people in society, but there's also people that aren't. And so, I was trying to talk to her, and she's like, no, we just need to get rid of them. I'm like, get rid of them? You don't think, restructuring is the answer? And I said, girl, if you're in a car accident, who are you going to call? If you're home at 3 a.m. in the morning sleeping and you hear your window break, who are you going to call? I mean, come on. Every society, I think, needs some sort of policing to make sure that people are abiding the laws. But the problem is the bad officers make it bad for the good officers. It gives the good officers a bad name. And so that's where the problem is. And unfortunately, like I said, this crap has been going on forever and ever and ever and ever. But I know there are a number of times I've in the middle of the night, I've heard a noise. The first thing I do is I reach for my cell phone. I haven't dialed 911, but in my mind I'm like, oh shit, if anything goes down, 911. I mean, there's just a comfort with knowing that if there's an emergency, there's a number that you can call to get some sort of assistance. Hopefully there'll be good cops that come, but dear Lord, that's a whole, I don't know. The jury's out on that. I mean, and I'm sure that most of you can connect and relate to that, wanting to be able to have that protection, and so I don't know if you all know the story of Kitty Genovese. God bless her soul. But this woman, this happened in New York City, a part of New York. I'm not exactly sure the part, but it happened in New York. And probably, if it wasn't the actual city, it was one of the boroughs. So this woman was literally, I think she was raped, but she was, raped and murdered. Slaughtered, okay? It was at night. It was in front of a big apartment building. Many people in the building heard her screaming bloody murder. I mean, many, many people heard her screaming bloody murder. And no one did anything. This woman was slaughtered. And there was no 911 system at the time for people to call. So, what people would do back then is they'd have the number to their local police precinct and they'd call that way. But to say like a number you could call 911 and say, oh, you know, someone's outside being attacked, and within minutes have police there, that was not the way it was then. And because of her dying, being slaughtered that night, 911 police system came about, emergency number that people could call. So I can't even imagine, my God, you know, you're screaming for help, and, you know, everyone was, you know, people were sleeping. They got up, they heard a scream, maybe they fell back to sleep. They got up, they went to the window, they didn't see anything. They heard the door. I mean, all the different, I guess, reasons, excuses, reasons, whatever. But yeah, so again, I am saying it loud and clear. We need the police, but we just need good police officers. Good and just, righteous police officers, okay? Not people that want to walk around with a badge and have the authority of the law in their hand for their ego. Because, you know, sometimes that's what I see with these officers. Like, oh, I think I'll just become a police officer. I don't know, it's like 6 months training. And, I mean, they have to go through on-the-job training and stuff. But what I'm saying is it's like a quick way to have authority in society. And a lot of times be above the law, because do shit and be able to get away with it in society because you're a police officer. So, yeah, we need good ones. That's all I'm going to say. And on that note, I want to wish you all love, happiness, peace, good health, prosperity, and many wonderful blessings. Oh, and some really good police officers.